From the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, you can see the impact of Ontario's laws. They show up as license plates on cars, hospitals filled with doctors, and the provincial parks we enjoy. They protect our rights at work, in school, and in our communities. But have you ever wondered, where do these laws come from? Who decides what becomes a law? And how does it all happen? Hi, I'm Amanda Cupido, and I'm going to give you a behind-the-scenes look at where it all begins, with a bill, and explain how a bill becomes a law in Ontario. But first, let's tackle, what is a bill? A bill is a proposed law that is introduced to the Legislative Assembly for consideration by a member of provincial parliament, or MPP. It may be a proposal to make new laws or change existing laws. Now, bills can be public or private. Private bills originate with a municipality, company, or individual and mostly helps a particular person or group get an exemption from the general law. We're not going to focus on these kinds of bills. Let's talk more about public bills. There are three types: private members' public bills, committee bills, and government bills. Private members' public bills are introduced by members who are not ministers. Committee bills are introduced by the chairs of certain standing committees, but there hasn't been one of those in over 20 years. Government bills are introduced by cabinet ministers. These tend to get the most amount of public attention and can be about spending public money or creating a tax. So let's focus on government bills for the rest of this video. First, let's take a peek at what they look like. There are 5 main elements: the crest of the Legislative Assembly of Ontario, the bill number, the long title, the sponsor, and reading and royal assent dates. Now, those dates are important. They indicate when the bill passed through all the stages of the legislative process. This process is essentially what makes it an Ontario law. But not every bill becomes a law. Let's break down the steps for the ones that do. The first step is introduction and first reading. Joanne McNair is a table research clerk here at the Legislative Assembly of Ontario, and she explains what this entails.
Introduction and first reading of a bill is the means by which the bill comes before the House so that the House can consider it. So any member who wants to present a bill does so during one of 2 proceedings. They rise in their place and ask the House for permission to bring forward the bill and that it be given first reading.
Thank you, Speaker. I move that leave be given to introduce a bill entitled An Act to Amend Various Acts, and that it now be read for the first time.
Ms. Kanjan has moved that leave be given to introduce a bill entitled An Act to Amend Various Acts, and that it now be read for the first time.
There is no debate at this stage. Once a bill has received first reading, if the House agrees to that, it is printed and distributed and also published on the website so that the public can see what the bill is all about.
The next step is second reading.
Order G30, second reading of Bill 30, an act to amend various statutes with respect to employment and labor and other matters.
Now, the second reading debate is supposed to focus primarily on what we call the purpose of the bill, which is like the big idea behind the bill. Why do we need this law? What will this law accomplish? How will it work when it's passed? It's not meant to look at the very specific details of the bill. That comes later on in the process. Various bills get different types of debate in terms of length.
This is the stage that gets the most debate. And for government bills, it's usually at least 6.5 hours. Then it's time for the bill to be considered by a committee, where the specific details are discussed.
A committee can call witnesses, which can include experts in the field that the bill touches on. It can include interest groups who might be supportive or oppose the bill, members of the general public who just want to have their say on the bill. And then once that process is done, once they've heard from all their witnesses, the committee begins what we call clause-by-clause consideration.
That means they go through line by line and vote on each section individually.
Members of the committee can propose amendments to the bill to try to improve it in some way.
Once completed, the committee reports the bill back to the House. The House will then decide if it accepts the committee report. And spoiler, they usually do. Next, it's ordered for third reading.
This is the opportunity for members to have a final say on the bill in its final form, because we can't make any more amendments at this stage. Amendments happen only in committee.
Order G60, resuming the debate adjourned earlier today on the third reading of Bill 60, an act to amend various acts and to enact the Water and Wastewater Public Corporations Act 2025.
This stage tends to be short, and occasionally there's not even any debate. Basically, if a bill receives its third reading, it's considered passed by the House, but it is still not a law.
For a bill to become an actual law, it needs the agreement of the Crown, what we call royal assent. The Crown in Ontario is represented by the Lieutenant Governor.
May it please Your Honour, the Legislative Assembly of the province has, at its present meetings thereof, passed certain bills to which, in the name and on behalf of the said Legislative Assembly, I respectfully request Your Honour's assent.
All bills that are passed by the House that have received third reading are presented to the Lieutenant Governor, who signs them in the Sovereign's name. And that act is what makes the bill a law or an act of Parliament, and it becomes part of the public body of law or the statutes of the province.
In His Majesty's name, Her Honoured Lieutenant Governor assents to these bills.
Royal assent usually happens in the House or the Lieutenant Governor's suite. Once the bill has received royal assent, it is officially a law. If you want to learn more about Ontario's bills, visit ola.org and select the Legislative Business tab. For the Legislative Assembly of Ontario, I'm Amanda Cupido.